Yeah, so good morning. Yeah, good morning. So this morning I want to have some revision. I'll be using past paper. I'll be using two past papers here. I have the July 2018 past paper. Still, I have the July 2014 past paper. In this past paper, I have sent a link in the ZDS. Maybe you can access the link later. There is a link to access what these papers. They're online. So I want to devise using this one, this past paper. I would like now to be
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Can start with the July 2014, go to the July 2018. I hope Sumaya can hear me very well. Am I audible, Sumaya?
Your voice is very low.
Oh, let me confirm. Yeah, what about now? I think
Problem.
Yeah. Yes?
I think it's my phone.
Yeah. Yeah, but now you can hear me now.
I can hear you,
now
but
we have
it's
this one
very
here. For
low.
example, we have this question here. And maybe it is your phone. Maybe try adjusting your phone volume. Yeah, you can try it because I'm very, very audible. You can adjust it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to start with this question here. There's a question here that you're supposed to differentiate between micro and mainframe computers. For that question, you differentiate between microcomputers and mainframe computers. Yeah, the difference between microcomputers. Now, remember now, these are the computers or the classification of computers, and maybe we can explain of them. Actually, we have four. That is what we call, we have the supercomputers, the mainframe, the mini computers, and we have what? The computers. Now, in case even if you ask now to explain the supercomputers, let us start with the supercomputers. The supercomputers, these are the largest computers, and they are big in size, and they are most expensive. And these computers now, they are used in what? In government institutions. Still, some computers are used in what? In institutions. But together, then you have the mainframe now, the mainframe computers. Still, these mainframe computers, they're very expensive. Is it true? Still, the mainframe, they're expensive. Still, they are large or they are big. But now, they are not big as what? As computers. They are not large as computers. And mostly, these computers, they are used in what? In film industry. For example, those industries now, or those companies that deal with filming or coming up with this is what we call the mainframe computers. Then, after the mainframe computers, there is called the mini computers. Mini. So for these computers now, these are very, very small computers, and they are used in organizations. For example, in departments. The computers that are used in department, they are what? Mini computers. The computers that are used are what? The mini computers. They're small computers. These computers now, they can be networked together to form what? A single network. These are the mini computers. Then you have the last one, the microcomputers. The microcomputers. The microcomputers, these are the smallest computers ever to be invented. The smallest computers ever to be invented. Very, very small. And now, which are the examples? Most of these computers now, they are portable. Is it true? So you can carry these computers from one location. Is it true? And you can have, for example, an example for microcomputer, you can have a smartphone. Is it true?
Yes.
You can have a laptop. You can have an iPad. You can have even a notebook. Is it true? Yeah, these are the what?
Yes.
The microcomputers. The smallest computers ever to be invented. Yeah, and that is how you earn. Now you are requested to explain super, because you have explained for supercomputers, micro, mini, and mainframe. What if now, so now you have to explain super mainframe computers? Which are these computers? Super mainframe computers. Which are these super mainframe computers?
The mainframe computer.
Yeah, super mainframe. Yeah, super mainframe. Super mainframe. Yes.
The big computers.
Yeah, which are these computers? The super mainframe computers. Super mainframe.
I don't know their names. I just know that they're supposed to be large computers. The ones
Yeah, so what are,
being used in institutions, government institutions.
yes, so whenever you have the super mainframe, these are the computers that are hybrid. They contain the features of the mainframe and still they contain the features of the computers. These are hybrid computers. They can perform both functionalities. Are together? The super mainframes.
Yes.
Understood? They contain
Yes.
both features of the super computers, and we have what mainframe computers. That is one question in that paper. Then we can have this question. Can have this question. Yes. Have this question. We have this question. You can hear me very well. ABC Company Limited intends to secure its data. ABC Company Limited intends to secure its data. Explain two measures that the company could implement. ABC Company intends to secure its data. Explain two measures the company could implement. So now, in this question now, it is this topic, computer security. Which mechanisms can a company employ to secure its data? One of the mechanisms is what we call encryption. Do you know what is encryption? What is encryption?
No.
Then it is here, encryption. So what happens with encryption now? It is you convert data from plain text to cipher. You convert data from plain text to cipher. And what you use, there is what we call a mathematical algorithm. Let me just show you an example of a document which is in plain text. The same document has been encrypted using what we call a mathematical algorithm to have what? A cipher. So what happens now in a cipher, when the information on a document is in cipher, there is no way you can read that document. Even if that document is accessed by a third party or that person who is not legitimate to get that information, there is no way he can use it. But again, let me just share a screen here. Showing you a document. Yes?
The encryption.
Yeah, encryption. Yeah. I want to show you now a document. Yes?
Is it supposed to be like a password?
No. In encryption, now, for example, you convert the you can use what another word. For example, in a password in a database is encrypted. So and when information is encrypted, it entails integers, you have characters, you have alphabet. Let me just share screen here, show you encryption together. Let me just share screen. Let me just show you. Let me display something here. Just display something here, showing you encryption on how you can secure our data. I'm opening the document just show you. So the document I want to illustrate one encryption. Now I hope Sumaya, can you see this? Can you see where I'm clicking here? Can you see this pointer at this point? Can you see this one here? Yeah, you look at this information. Yeah, can you see now this information has been encrypted. It has been what? Encrypted. So you realize there is no way, even if someone is able to access that information, there is no way he can read. Is it true?
Yes. Hello?
Yeah, there is no way he can read. So for you to know, yes. Any question on encryption?
No. I get it now.
Any question? Yeah, so that is the first. Now, this ABC company can secure its data. First one we have encryption. Second is by use of password. By using what? Password. So it can use what? Password. And now the password must be strong. It must be what? It must be strong because now we have some people who can guess passwords. And a good password must entail the use of what? Maybe they must have around 8 characters. They must entail the using uppercase values, lowercase values, integers inside, and other symbols. So together, we're using what? Upper password. It must be strong. Yeah, another mechanism the organization can implement biometrics. It can implement what? Biometrics. In biometrics, these are the technologies that use the physical or physiological characteristics of an individual. For example, in biometrics, there is what you call fingerprint. You have seen them, is it?
Yes, yes. You use your thumb.
The fingerprint in biometrics. Yeah, the fingerprint. Exactly. For using what you are thumb. So for you to access certain information, for example, in a server, you have to do what? You have to put your thumb. And now this information has to be verified with the information stored in the server. In the case now, the information in the thumbprint does not match the information in the server. There is no way you can be authenticated to see what that information. And that is using what? The biometrics. In biometrics, there are several. You can have fingerprints, you can have the palm vein, you can have the iris recognition, you can even have what? The voice recognition. I think that. Yeah, that is using biometrics. Still, you can use the firewall. So the fourth mechanism, you can use what? A firewall. And know what is a firewall? A firewall, this is a what? It is a combination of what? Hardware and softwares that are used to filter network traffic in a network based on some rules. A combination of what? Hardware and softwares that are used to filter network traffic based on what? On a number of rules. For example, there is a way the firewall can be configured that only certain computers can access what? The information. In the case now, in the rules, your computer is not listed. It cannot access information from the server. Understood? Remember, for you, every computer in a network is identified by using an IP address. So you can press, for example, certain IP address in the network. That this IP address is of this computer. They are the only ones that can access all that information. Still, you can enhance the security of that data. Understood?
Yes.
So have you understood? There is what we call the intrusion detection systems, the IDS. Let me just repeat for you what we call the intrusion systems. We have that. The intrusion detection systems. Intrusion detection systems. Now, in case you try to access the information, yeah, intrusion detection systems. Yeah, what we call the intrusion detection systems. So what happens with this? In case you try to access some information, they notify the administrator. They do what? They notify there's an intruder who is trying to access information in the server. So their work is to notify. Once there's an intruder, they notify or they send a message to the administrator. There is someone who is trying to access certain information. So once that information has been sent to the administrator, he can now employ other mechanisms of preventing that intruder from accessing the information. So the major task is to detect. So understood?
Yes.
Yeah, that is good. That is a question which was carrying 4 marks. And in case you're requested to explain, you must still explain together. There's a difference between stating and explaining. Together, you have to give a point and you explain. Then we can have there's a question here. I have this question that Sally was required to identify examples. Sally was required to identify examples of this utility software. Sally was required to identify examples of disk utility software. The point is what? Disk utility software on a computer. Outline 4 examples that she could have identified. So what are the examples of utility software in a computer? Just give me one. Yeah, just give me one. Remember, software are categorized into two. Examples of utility software.
I can't get that clearly. Parts of a computer. Hello? Hello? I can't hear you.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Hello? Whoa. Your voice is breaking.
Can you, and now these are the
Yes, I can hear you.
that help the operating system. Yeah, these are
Oh no.
in performing its tasks better. Yeah,
I still can't hear you, sir. I don't know
so
what the problem.
Yeah, I'm asking about. I had a question. How do I clear? Am I clear?
Sometimes I can hear
Am I
you,
clear
and then
now?
the next moment your voice starts breaking. And then it just goes mute. Even now it's breaking.
Yeah.
Hello?
Just a minute, I check. Just a minute, I check. Yeah, I'm checking my network. Yes, I'm.
Oh, okay.
Operations better. Yeah, and you see the first one is what you call a backup. You have a backup. There is a way now you can recognize the information to an extent that they can be backed up in the internet together by using what a backup in the computer. And now for these utility softwares, most of them you don't install them. Some of them are in the computer. For example, you have the backup in the computer. Still, you can back up information in a different drive. For example, maybe you have local disk C, you have local disk D, and you have local disk E. You can decide, let us have local disk E as a backup together. So everything, even if now your computer crashes, you can retrieve the information from what local disk E. That is the second. So you have the first one, the backup. Right together. The second is what we call an antivirus software. Antivirus software. An antivirus software is not an application software. It is a what? A utility software. It helps or it manages what? The computer security. It prevents the viruses from what affecting the what or destroying what the data. Together. And you know what is a virus? A virus is a what? This is a malicious program that is able to alter the normal function of the computer. It is malicious. It can destroy what the data. So that's the second software. Utility, that is the second what utility software. The first one backup, then you have antivirus. Then there is what we call disk fragmenter. We have what we call disk fragmenter. For example, your hard disk can be fragmented. For example, in case you're having a document on local disk on the desktop, you delete that document and you put it in another drive, local disk F. Then you copy once more, you take it back to the desktop and you format it. So what happens now? Some partial components of that data become replicated. They become replicated. And once they become replicated, they start occupying some space in the computer. So we realize that your local disk has fragmented. They are what fragmented, because now we have several partitions of data existing in different locations. So you have to defragment. You have to do what? To defragment. That is what we call a disk fragment. The third point. Then the last point is what we call, we have disk cleanup. Disk cleanup. On the word clean. For example, in case you install a program, maybe you are having a certain software on the computer, and you decide now to install it. Once you install it, you have to perform what a disk cleanup to remove now the partial copies of the information of that software together from the computer. So these are the 4 types of what utility softwares. Yeah, so you have backup, antivirus, you have disk fragment, you have what disk cleanup, and that is how you earn 4 marks from that question. Understood? So have you understood?
Yes.
Yeah, that is good. Then you can have this question now that you explain areas of applications of ICT in the health sector. You explain areas of application of ICT in the health sector. Where is it applied in the health sector?
And hospital.
Yeah, where?
Health sector.
In health sector, ICT.
The hospitals.
In hospitals now, I want now you give me a scenario in the hospital whereby ICT has been used in a hospital.
Oh, and storing the data of the patient, the
That is one.
history.
Yeah, that is one. What else?
Even the what's it called? The equipment used in the hospital.
Yeah, that is correct. So you can say now, because ICT has been used in terms of what? Storage, together. Information storage. For example, information pertaining to the patient, for example, their records, they are stored in what? In the computer. That is one. Still, the computers have been used in research. Is it true? In research. Remember, yes. You can connect to the internet with the computer. So, doctors or professionals in the health industry, they can, in case they want to gain more information about a certain disease, they can just what? Research from the internet. I think that's the second. Still, the computers have been used to network the hospital. Is it true? You realize all the departments within the hospital have network to get together. So it becomes very, very easy to share records pertaining to the patient. For example, in case you're in the reception and you have been or you're in the customer care and you have been given a receipt or information has been recorded. Once you go to, for example, to the ward, your information is there. Is it true? You can retrieve the information. And so, and still, the computers have been used to diagnose problems. Is it true? Is it true? Remember now, these computers now have they have out of storage. Together, there is a way a computer can configure to identify what a certain problem. For example, the same computers in ICT have been used in the theater. Remember, you have hybrid computers in the theater. Is it true? Hybrid that are used to measure physical magnitude and pressure. Is it true?
Hybrid computers.
Yeah, they measure the physical magnitude and pressure together, because you see the combining what the features of digital and what and analog. These computers can be used in the theater to interpret the information. Still an application of ICT. So these are the areas whereby you can apply ICT in the health sector. And that is how you earn the 3 marks. Then you can have this question. Yeah, this question now, you're supposed to explain the terminology. Together, we have some terminologies here. We have this. For example, you have this one. Explain the following terminologies. You have the first one, a topology. You explain what is a topology. And I can see Kimathi is here. So Kimathi, explain the term topology, Kimathi. Kimathi, explain the term topology.
Topology.
Yeah. And so we are revising the past papers together. Yeah, what is topology? Magdi, what is topology? What about Sumaya? What is topology?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. So topology now, this is the arrangement of computers or nodes in a network. Understood? It is the arrangement of computers or nodes in a network. Whenever you say a node can present what several components. So together, a node can present a switch. A node can present a computer. A node can present a server. So topology, this is the arrangement of computers or nodes in a network. And you know we have types of topologies. Is it true? We have the bus topology, we have the star topology, we have the ring topology, we have the mesh topology, we have the hybrid topology. Is it true? Yeah. You must be doing that. And in case now you're requested, what if now in case you're requested, create a certain topology using a diagram. I hope you can do that. And you can do that. For example, if you're requested to illustrate the linear topology, the linear bus topology, can you illustrate in a diagram?
No.
Yeah.
The linear what?
Bus topology. Can you illustrate using a diagram?
No, not now. Maybe if I revise it and then.
Yeah, but I think you have covered that. Is it true? You covered that. Yeah, so you have to.
I don't think I was there.
Oh, you are absent last semester in your case.
Yes, I haven't attended most of the classes because this link only works sometimes, even with data. When I buy Credo.
Yeah. For the networks we covered last semester, but I'll be sharing them all together.
Okay.
Yeah. Last semester is what you call the topology.
Even now, Albert called me and he wanted to join the class, but he's not able.
Yes, who?
Omondi.
Why is he unable? Let me check. Let me check first why he's unable to log in.
He couldn't find the ICT and the whole unit in the portal.
Yeah, let me inquire from him. Let me check.
Okay.
Maybe it is a problem with the network. So another question is here. That was the term topology. Still, we have another terminology here. Explain the term multitasking. Multitasking. What is multitasking according to you? Yeah, multitasking. What is it?
Doing several tasks at once.
That is correct. Whereby you can perform several tasks at once. At once. For example, you can be taking some information at the same time you are uploading something. At the same time you are listening to some music. That is what multitasking. Yeah. Then there's this question here. Just that question. This question that you differentiate between a computer operator and a computer technician. Differentiate between a computer operator and a computer technician.
And a computer operator is somebody that is using it and knows how to function the computer, but technician can even mend the computer if it has problems.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, a computer operator, these are the people who are using the computer, or these are the users of computer systems. So together we can have programmers, we can have sophisticated computer users, we can have what the normal users. But in this computer technician, these are the people who have the skills together of rectifying or troubleshooting or diagnosing problems in a computer. Together, they can even repair, they can diagnose the problem still, they can troubleshoot what these problems. Then you have this question. That explain the difference between RAM and ROM. Explain the difference between RAM and ROM. Explain the difference between RAM and ROM. So there is what you call the random access memory. We have what the read-only memory. Now the random access memory, this is the memory whereby it is temporary. It is temporary, or the information in here is kept what temporarily. What you call that understood?
Yes.
The information is kept temporarily. And now we say that this memory is what? Volatile. The reason we say it is volatile, information is lost in case the power goes off. example, maybe you are taking some information in MS Word. You are taking some information and you are not saved, and the power goes off. That information is lost. The reason it is lost, the information is kept in the what? In the RAM. Information is kept temporarily, it's non-volatile. When we have said it loses information in case the power goes off. What about the ROM? The read-only memory. We have the read-only memory. For this one, it is non-volatile. The reason is it is non-volatile, information is not lost, or you can retrieve the information even if the power goes off. And the information here is kept permanently. And once something else about the ROM, it is not information responsible for the booting process. And you know what is to boot. To boot now is to start up the computer. So information responsible for the booting or starting up that computer is kept in the ROM. Understood?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is the difference between RAM and what? RAM and ROM. Then you have this question. Yeah, let me just switch now. That was the July 2014 past paper. Let me now switch to July 2018 past paper. Let me just switch that paper.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm using the July 2018 past paper. Now we have this question here. Yeah, this is today's question. Outline the limitations of touch screen as an output device. You outline the limitations of what? Of touch screen device as a what? You explain now what are the limitations now, or what are the disadvantages now of having touch screen. For example, most of our smartphones are touch screen. Is it true? They have a screen.
Yes.
So what are the disadvantages of these devices? One of the disadvantages now of these devices is that the screens get very dirty. Is it true? That is one limitation. The screens get what? Very dirty. And you know, once the screen is dirty, then the sensitivity reduces. In case you try to touch that device on the screen, the sensitivity reduces. So these are 2 points. The screens get that very easily. The second, the sensitivity reduces. Then everybody realized when there is a lot of sunlight, the sensitivity of the touch screen reduces. Have you ever seen that?
I can't hear you.
I'm saying, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
I'm saying the sensitivity of the screen reduces once the screen is dirty. And still, in case now you have too much sunlight, you are unable to read the information on the screen. Another limitation.
Yes.
Still, these devices they consume a lot of power. That LCD consumes what? Out of power. Understood? So you realize the battery life of these devices is very, very low. Together, very, very low battery life, because now that screen consumes a lot of what? Battery power.
Right.
And still another limitation. In case now the screen breaks, the accuracy of typing becomes very low. In case the screen breaks, the typing accuracy becomes very low. Because you want to type, you realize you have typed what? Z. Is it true?
Yes.
Is it true? And still another limitations. These devices they're expensive than other what or than ordinary devices. However, I hope you have understood the 4 points, the 4 disadvantages of these devices. The first one you have said, the screens get that very easily. What you have said,
during sunlight and it's not visible.
They're not visible, and you have said they consume a lot of power together.
Yes.
And they're even expensive than what other alternative devices. That is how you add the 4 marks. Then you have this question. Now to explain this question, explain the difference between a computer virus and a worm as used in computer security. The difference between a computer virus and a worm. I can see Kimathi is here. Let me hear from Kimathi now. Kimathi, what is the difference between a computer virus and a computer worm? Kimathi, the difference between a computer virus and a computer worm.
A computer virus is a software that is made to attack Okay.
Yes. Any information? Yeah. What about Sumaya? What is between a computer virus and a computer worm? Remember this in computer security. The difference between a computer virus and a computer worm. Yes.
Virus is supposed to destroy and data in the computer, right? Like everything.
What about the worm?
Worm is maybe still information.
Yeah, so what happens now? These are malwares. Those are malwares. So they get the worms and the viruses, they are malwares. But now a worm can exist on its own. Together, both are malwares. Both the objective it is to destroy the data or to alter the normal function of the computer. But what happens in a worm? It can manage itself. A worm do not have to rely on another program with existence. A worm do not have to rely on another program so that it can propagate. For example, in case now we have a software like Microsoft Word in the computer. In case you have a software like Microsoft Word in the computer, a worm do not have to rely on that program so that it can exist. So that now it can propagate what the virus, the virus is. Whenever you talk about a virus cannot exist on its own. It has to reside within what another program. Understood now? A virus have to reside within what another program. So that it can propagate and what and cause the damage. That is the main difference. A worm is self-autonomous. It can manage itself. It does not have to rely on another program for its existence. But a virus has to decide on another program so that now it can start propagating and alter the normal function of the computer. That is the major difference between what a worm and a what and a virus. Any question on that? Yes? Yeah, then you have this question now. This question that you stage 2 types of what? Random access memories. You stage 2 types of what? Random access memories. Which are these? You stage 2 types of what? Random access memory. Imagine which are these? Because memories are categorized, we have what we call the RAM and ROM. Now, the types of what? Random access memories. You have to. There is what we call, we have a dynamic RAM. And we have what? Static RAM. So we have what we call the DRAM. We have what we call, we have the SRAM. Dynamic RAM, we have what? The static random access memory. And SRAM consumes what more power than what? The DRAM. Together. And SRAM is more efficient than what? Than the DRAM.
Yes.
And so we have to the dynamic RAM, we have what? The static RAM. I hope you've understood that.
Yes.
Then you can have this question. You just open that question in this paper. Just open that question. So we have this question. Distinguish between a control bus. Distinguish between a control bus and a data bus as applied in computers. You distinguish between a control bus and a data bus as applied in what? In computers. What is the difference between a control bus and a data bus? And what is the difference between these two? A control bus and a what? And a data bus. Yes. Any information? What about Imadi? Any question? Do you have any information about the control bus and the data bus? No, just listen. The work of a data bus, it is to carry the actual data that is being processed. That is what a data bus. It carries the data that is being processed. Understood?
Yes.
It carries the data that is being processed. But whenever we talk about a control bus now, it carries commands from the CPU. A control bus carries what? It carries commands from the CPU and returns status signals from the what? From the devices. That is a control bus. It carries commands from the CPU and returns status signals from the devices. Understood?
Yes.
Can you repeat
Yes.
that? Please?
And let me just repeat. We have said that a data bus carries what? The actual data that is being processed. Then you have
I can't hear you.
Smart.
Yes. Hi.
now. Am I clear now? Am I clear?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, they're saying a control bus carries command from the CPU and returns the set of signals. It carries command from the CPU and returns set of signals from the devices. That is what we call a control bus. Kimandi is making
Yes. Yes.
you're making yes, you're making a lot of noise. Let us proceed. Yeah, what if now still there is what you call, apart from the data bus and from the control bus, still there is what you call the address bus. You have what you call the address what? You have the address bus. You have the address bus now. The work of the address bus now, it is to carry the information from the device. Together, it is to carry the information about the device with which the CPU is communicating. Together, it is to carry the information about the device with which the CPU is communicating. That is what you call the address bus. So you have types of buses. You have address bus, data bus, and control bus. You have control bus. Then you have this question now. Just listen to this question. Outline 3 reasons, not even you explain, you're trying. Outline 3 reasons that could necessitate the use of computer networks in an organization. Outline 3 reasons that could necessitate the use of computer networks in an organization. Why should we have a network in an organization? The first one is what we call hardware sharing. Is it true? Hardware sharing. We can share the physical or hardware in the network. For example, we can share a printer of a network. I think you have ever seen, for example, in an organization, we can have one printer in several computers. But now that printer is shared over that network. Each and every individual in that organization can print a document using that printer. That is what we call hardware sharing. Then there is what we call communication. People can communicate via that network. People can send documents. People can send messages over that network. That is what we call communication. Then still there is what we call file sharing. That's what we call file sharing. You can share a file over that network using a computer. For example, in case you go to a computer, you just click a document. About a document. There is a platform whereby you can share with. Have you ever seen that? Just click a document in your computer, then right click. You have what we call share with. You can share with the people in that network. So if the privilege is now to select, you can select, for example, in case you want to share with everyone in that network, in case you want to share with a single individual in that network. That is what we call file sharing. Then there is what you call software sharing or the program sharing. There is a way you can install all the programs in the server. You can install all the software in the server. In case now a certain client or certain computer requires to use that software, it must be given access by the server. That is what we call software sharing. You can share software within what that network. And these softwares now they have to reside within what the server. So I hope you have understood the benefits of having a network and organization. Yeah, any question?
Yes.
So you have said we have file sharing, hardware sharing, program sharing, we have what? Communication. Yeah. Then we have this question that Peter intends to install application packages. Peter intends to install application packages on his laptop. Peter intends to install application packages on his laptop. Outline 4 categories of application packages. Outline 4 categories of application packages that he could install. Which are these? I want Kema to give me 2 and Isuma to give me 2. Which packages can he install in his computer that he intends to install application packages on his laptop? Outline 4 categories he could install. Which are these? Kema just give me 2. Kema give me 2. Yes?
Repeat the question.
Yeah, that Peter would like to install some application packages on his laptop. You give him 4 types of application packages that he could have installed. Which are these? And know which are these applications. Remember, we are dealing with what we call application softwares. These are the softwares that help the end user performing what his day-to-day activity. Sumaya, which software can he install?
Antivirus software.
An antivirus is not an application. An antivirus software is a utility software. What is that? Antivirus is a utility software. So the first application software you can install what we call the spreadsheet software. The spreadsheet software. The Microsoft Word, Excel. Understood?
Yes.
Yeah, the first one. And remember, in Excel now, it entails the use of what? Arithmetic operations. You have what? Logical operations together. All those mathematical what? Operations. Then you can install the Microsoft Word program together, all software together. Remember, these are hosted in what? In Office. The Microsoft Word. For example, in case it requires typing all these things, converting a document, you can have what? MS Word. Still, you can install the database software. You can install what? The database software. And an example of database software, you have what? Microsoft Access together. Understood?
Yes.
Database software. Still, you can install what you call a presentation software. A presentation software. In case now you want to prepare some slides, together, for example, maybe he has a meeting or he has something you want to present to the public, you can prepare the slides using what you call a presentation software. An example of a presentation software is what you call Microsoft PowerPoint. Right together. You have the PowerPoint. Microsoft PowerPoint.
Yes.
Yeah. These are some. Yes.
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah. So these are some of the examples of what? Of the application software. You have the first one, the spreadsheet software. You can have the word processor software. You can have a presentation software, and you can have a database also software. But they are not just simple. We have several. We have even what accounting software. That is how you earn the format. Then we have this question now. We have this question. And this question is here. Let me just read this question. That Julia was required to identify the types of non-impact printers. Julia was required to identify the types of non-impact printers in his company. Julia was required to identify the types of non-impact printers in her company. State three types of what? Non-impact printers.
Laser printer. Is that an impact printer?
Yes.
Laser.
Correct. What? That is correct. What else? Tell us.
Inkjet. Inkjet.
Yes.
Inkjet.
Inkjet. Inkjet. No. No.
And lead.
Yes.
Lead. Lead.
Yeah. Oh, you said inkjet.
Yeah.
Yeah, inkjet is correct. Yeah. We have laser. Inkjet. Yes. Correct. Inkjet is correct. And the result you call the thermal printer 3. Yeah, the inkjet is correct. You have the laser. We have thermal printers. And you have what? Which one? The other one? Yeah, but the three main have the laser printers together. You have the inkjet together, and you have the thermal printers. These are the three main types of what? Then impact printers. You have the thermal printers together. You have what? Thermal printers. And now these printers, they use what we call the ink wax actually. Together, they use what we call the ink wax. The thermal printers. Then you have the laser printers together. That they use what we call array. Then we have what we call the inkjet printers together. But for these ones now, they use what we call a spring technology of the ink. And again, when writing, they use what we call a spring technology of the ink. So these are the three types of what? Non-impact printers. What about the impact printers now? In case you're requested to give 2 examples of the impact, we have what we call the dot matrix together, the DC wheel together. These are what? Impact printers. And in the case now, we're requested to explain the difference between impact and non-impact. Impact, they make a lot of noise. Together. Right together. Non-impact, they make what? Less noise. That is one difference between impact and what? Non-impact. The second difference, the impact printers, they are less expensive. They are what? Less expensive. But for the non-impact, they are expensive. Understood?
Yes.
That difference, the impact printers, they produce low quality printout. They produce low quality printout. But for the non-impact, they produce high quality printout. Impact, they produce less quality printout. Non-impact, they produce high quality printout. The fourth difference, the impact, the impact they produce, for example, maybe in terms of the color. Some do not have color. They do not print color. Some do not print color. But now for the impact, they print color. Or they can print code colored documents. Can print code colored documents. Yeah. So these are the 4 differences between what? The impact and what? Non-impact printers. Any question at that point?
No.
Yeah, how is the revision? Because now I'm using some past papers here. And I think have you seen the past papers? I've shared them over the ZDS. Have you seen them?
I've seen them, but I haven't checked them out.
Yeah, but they are there together. So how is the revision going? Why is it?
Oh, I haven't started revising it.
Yeah, it is good. It is good every time you have to revise it together. You have to revise it with the past papers together. Yeah. It's good every time you can visit what even the past papers. Then you have this question. You can have this question. You have this question. Explain 3 types of computer viruses in respect to computer security. Explain 3 types of computer viruses in respect to computer security. Which are these?
I don't know.
The first one is what we have what we call a macrovirus. We have what we call a macrovirus. A macrovirus, these are the viruses that affect the application of programs. Understood? The viruses that affect the application of programs. For example, it can affect the Microsoft Word, they can affect the database software, application software. These are macroviruses. Then there is what we call the time bomb viruses. The time bomb viruses. So these viruses now, they're supposed to replicate. or they start propagating or damaging the computer after specific time and date. So the person who has programmed that virus, he has to set it. For example, it has to start propagating on this date. So it will affect that computer. It can stay inactive in the computer until that date reaches the time-bomb viruses. Then there is what we call the boot viruses. We have what the boot viruses. For these ones now, they affect the boot sectors of the hard disk. And you know, once the boot sectors of the hard disk have been affected, there is no way you can load the operating system. There is no way that computer can power up once the boot sectors have been affected. Then still, there is what we call the Trojan horse viruses. The Trojan horse viruses. And now, for these viruses now, they masquerade or they personify themselves as what? As legitimate programs, yet their work, it is to alter the normal function of the computer. This is called the Trojan horse. They personify this they can hide the identity. Look at it, or they seem to be genuine, but remember, their objective is to do what? To alter the normal function of the computer. So these are the four types of viruses. You have the Trojan horse, the macro viruses, the boot viruses, and you have the boot viruses. Any question on that? Any question?
Yes.
Yeah, you can ask.
So if a boot virus attacks a computer, that means that computer is destroyed.
You see now the boot
completely.
No, not completely. You see now it will affect hard disk. The boot sectors of hard disk. Remember the hard disk now you have the operating systems. You have the videos inside. For example, you can have Windows 7 or Windows 8. So once the boot sectors are affected, there is no way you can load that OS the computer. Your computer cannot power up. So the solution now it is to format the computer. Understood? You format. Once you format now, you change the videos. For example, in case you're having Windows 7, you put what Windows 8. Understood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you don't
the BIOS will still work.
Yeah, the BIOS will still work. Remember the BIOS, they are hosted in the CMOS battery. In the what? Not in the CMOS battery. There's the BIOS chip. There's the BIOS what? The BIOS chip. And there's a small battery, the computer called the CMOS. That CMOS battery stores what? The BIOS settings. Understood? So what will happen now, once you format or you remove the old OS and you put a new OS, everything works normal. Together, the settings remain the same. Any other question?
No.
That is good. We can proceed. Let me check another question. Yeah, I want this one to explain. This one is for you, the both of you. Explain 3 benefits of embracing ICT. Explain 3 benefits of embracing ICT in organizations. Explain 3 benefits of embracing ICT in organizations. What are the benefits of ICT in organizations? What are these benefits of ICT in organizations?
We can use
what are the benefits?
organizations to explain, right?
Yes.
Like
just explain.
About the health sector.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Speak up.
I said we can use different organizations to explain.
Yeah, you can use different organizations. Yeah, explain.
Like the one we already discussed, the health sector, and we can use it in the education sector.
Yes, we have health sector, we have education sector, and we have explained the health sector. And in education now, you can have what you call the e-learning. Is it true? You can have e-learning whereby students can attend the lectures online. Still in e-learning now, in education now, you can research online. Is it true?
Yes.
Yeah, what else? Yeah, what else?
And
yes, Lalama, Kimazi?
In an organization like a company, it will increase manufacturing productivity.
Yeah, so there is what you call this improved efficiency together, improved efficiency in organizations together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are some of the benefits together. Or you can explain the benefits of what? Of ICT together. You can explain based on organizations, for example, area. You can explain the benefits based on what? On education. You can explain based on what? On fashion industry. You can explain based on what? On health sector. Just put together. There's still the ICT. It has enabled communication to be what? Very, very easy. Remember, we have what we call electronic email. Is it true? The email is electronic. Is it true? Whereby you can communicate with different people around the world without what? Traveling, and it's very, very convenient and less expensive together. Still, another benefit of ICT in organizations, there is what you call the online shopping. I think at the online shopping hereby you can buy and sell products online. So these are some of the benefits of ICT. You can explain them based on what? An application area. Then you can have this question here. This question, but for this one you're supposed, this one is an assignment. This question, just listen to this question. Lois intends to disable a computer. Lois intends to disable a computer in order to resolve a problem. Lois intends to disable a computer in order to resolve a problem. Disable now is to remove the component. So you open the motherboard. You open the system keys of the computer, you access to the motherboard. Outline the precautions that she needs to take before carrying out the task. Lois intends to disable a computer in order to solve a problem. Outline the precautions she needs to take before carrying out the task. Which are these precautions that she can take before disabling that computer? Just give me one, Kimade. Which are these precautions she needs to take?
He or she should make sure that the computer is not in the power system.
To disconnect the power system, the power supply system, that is the one. What else? What else?
He should.
So another precaution, he has to ensure that the computer do not have what the static charges together. Don't have what the static charges together. So she has to wear what we call the anti-static wrist wrapper together. She has to wear anti-static wrist wrapper together. That is another precaution together. Then still, she has to ensure that if she disables the computer, she has to remove the battery. Apart from the external supply unit, she has to remove the battery. Then still, another precaution, she has to wear what we have said, anti-static wrist wrap. Remember, the computer has what we call the static charge. That is together. She has to do that together. Then another precaution, she has to wear a mask together. Because of what? There's some tasks that can affect what? The use of the technique, the vision together. You have to be very, very careful because of the dust. That is what another precaution. Then still, another precaution, she has to ensure she is using the right devices together, or she is using the right equipment to disable that computer. Understood? Remember, the computer has what we call, it has micro components. So there's a device you can use and it damages other components. For example, when you're opening the nut, you have to ensure you're using the correct start driver. You have to ensure he's using the correct exit driver together. For example, in case a component falls between two different components or a small component, she has to make sure she has to use the tweezers together. Tweezers to do what? Because that component. These are some of the precautions. Yeah. And another question which is here now. Yeah, the last question for today now. Explain the difference between a router and a switch as used in computer network. Explain the difference between a router and a switch in respect to computer network. The difference between a router and a switch. The difference between a router and a switch in respect to computer network. What's the difference between a router and a switch? So, what is a router? Sumaya, what is a router? Sumaya, what is a router? Sumaya, what is a router?
Yes.
Now, what is a router according to you? You explain the difference between a router and a switch. What is a router according to you? Or what do you call the router? A router. What is a router?
I don't know.
What about Kimazi? What is a router, Kimazi? Now, maybe I can explain the difference now. So I will start with the router. A router now is a networking device that is used to forward packets to the intended destination. Is used to forward packets to the intended destination. That is what we call a router. It is used to forward packets to the intended destination. Then still, the router is used to communicate with the ISP. For example, in case the service provider is the Safaricom, if, for example, you have installed maybe a certain Wi-Fi in your organization or a network in your organization. For you to have the internet, it is work of the router to communicate with the ISP. Still, a router is a device that is used to connect two different wide area networks. You have seen the three functions of a router. The first one, to forward the packets to their intended destinations. The second, to communicate with the ISP. And the third, to connect two different wide area networks. What about a switch? A switch now, this is a device that is used to extend the network. It can even be used to forward packets to other computers. A device that is used to do what? To extend the network. Let me just share a screen here show you a switch and what and a router. And a switch has around 24 ports. I think I've ever seen one in the city lab. I've ever seen one in the cabinet, a switch. Yeah, let me just share a screen here illustrating a switch and what and a router. Let me just show you. Let me just show you. Yeah, I'm sharing the screen. Can you see that now? Are you able to see this diagram here? Can you see this diagram? This is what we call a switch. I think you have ever seen them in the city lab. I think even in organizations or in cyber you have ever seen them. These are called the switches. Like we can have this one, we can have like this one. If it is having a lot, let us how many ports for this one. These are the ports. This is what we call a switch. Because and you have said for this one is used to extend the network. For example, maybe you're having a lot of 20 computers and you want to interconnect them. You can only use what a switch. Then there is what we call a router. Let me just show you a router is here. And some routers have antennas. Yeah, you see them. This the routers here. This is the router. You can see it has an antenna to communicate to the ISP. Still, this router can provide what? Some Wi-Fi. This is the router. The routers here. Is here. Any question on that?
No.
So I think that is enough for today. Then I'll be leaving a question. There's a question I want to read on the discussion. I want to work on that question. On the discussion. Just now, I'll read it just now. Question is supposed to discuss. Then I'll mark. How was the class today? Imagine. How was the overall? How was the class today?
The class was okay.
It was good.
Yeah,
That is good. What about Sumaya?
it was good for me too.
That was good. So what I'll do now on the platform, there's a question I want to read for discussion. I want to discuss that question. Yeah, the discussion is supposed to take around 50 minutes. So these 50 minutes is supposed to be through with that because I'll be marking. I'll post it just now together. Work on it, provide feedback on that platform, I'll mark. Yeah.
Yes.
Let me just post it now.
Suma.
Yes.
I have put the questions. You can work on it together. Just work on it. I have posted question.